Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon news update for September 11th, 2025. Today we're going to start off in Colorado, where the Grand Junction, Colorado Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints opened its doors to the public for free tours beginning this week. The open house will be held from Thursday, September 11th through Saturday, September 27th, 2025, excluding Sundays. President Jeffrey R. Holland of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles will dedicate the temple on Sunday, October 19th, 2025. There are 382 temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints dedicated, under construction, or announced. Latter-day Saints worship in temples for several reasons: to feel God's love and peace, to learn more about God's plan for His children and the gospel of Jesus Christ, to make promises with God and with one's husband or wife, and to unite families in this life and the next through sacred ordinances. Jesus Christ is the reason we build temples. Each is His holy house, making covenants and receiving essential ordinances in the temple, as well as seeking to draw closer to Him there, will bless your life in ways no other kind of worship can, Church President Russell M. Nelson said in April of 2023. But for me, based on the character of Jesus as portrayed in the New Testament, I would argue that Jesus would not want or need a grand and expensive building. His life and teaching often prioritized simplicity, service to the poor, and spiritual matters over material wealth and grandeur. The Gospels consistently portray Jesus as a man of humble means. He lived a nomadic life, preaching in simple homes, on hillsides, and by the sea. He famously said that he had nowhere to lay his head. His ministry was centered on the marginalized and the poor, and he consistently warned against the dangers of accumulating wealth. This stands in stark contrast to a physical building that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to construct and maintain. Next, I know Russell's birthday is over now, but folks are still talking about him. Apparently, according to Yahoo, on the eve of President Russell M. Nelson's 101st birthday, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints released a photo of the prophet taken in his office on Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Notice that he is standing between pictures of both of his wives, and he believes when he does pass that he will be sealed and married to them for eternity in a polygamous relationship. Also, I am not surprised that it's a photo and not a video. I suspect that Russell's health is not such that he will be in many videos or public appearances going forward. The article goes on to say, the leader of the worldwide church enjoyed a pre-birthday celebration Sunday with a small gathering of family members at the church administration building in Salt Lake City. His birthday was Tuesday, September 9th. Again, not surprised that there was no public appearance this year. Back to the article. Earlier this week, Time magazine published an op-ed authored by President Nelson. His birthday wish for all of us, he wrote, is to embrace eternal truths that we are happiest when we remember our divine worth and extend that recognition to others, beginning with our own families. Okay, raise your hand if you think President Nelson really wrote that, because I am guessing it was his speechwriter. The article then says, President Nelson's 101st birthday has prompted millions of Latter-day Saints and friends worldwide to reflect on and share how the leader's teachings have increased their faith in and desire to follow the Savior Jesus Christ. It then has highlights from President Nelson's ministry. September 9th, 1924, born in Salt Lake City, Utah. April 7th, 1984, called as an apostle for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. July 15th, 2015, became president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. January 14th, 2018, set apart as the 17th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, succeeding President Thomas S. Monson after his death. April 1st, 2018, introduced an enhanced focus on service and ministering to others through creation of the ministering program, which is not entirely accurate. All he did was rename the already existing home and visiting teaching program. October 6th, 2018, introduced a new worldwide 2-hour church schedule and new resources for daily at-home gospel study, creating a more home-centered, church-supported model of gospel learning. October 7th, 2018, emphasized the importance of referring to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints by its full name, reinforcing the sacred nature of that name. and I dare say this is what he will be remembered for. March 2020 led the church in adapting to the start of the global COVID-19 pandemic, including innovations in online missionary work and ways church members could worship together and minister to each other remotely. 2018 to the present continues to lead the church with a focus on following the fundamental principles of the gospel of Jesus Christ, temple building, personal revelation, and preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. The only part of that I would refute is that he is still leading the church. I think maybe on some days, but others, not so much. He is literally 101 years old. Next, I heard about something new this week called the Missionary Brigade. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Africa South Area's post on Facebook says, "The Missionary Brigade is coming to Harare and Johannesburg." What is the Missionary Brigade? The Missionary Brigade initiative is a one-day event designed to eliminate barriers to serving a mission while guiding and assisting participants through the steps of mission preparation. What to expect at the Missionary Brigade: medical examinations, eye test, grooming station, missionary application, photo will be taken, emotional preparation workshop, dental healthcare workshop. This Missionary Brigade initiative can be seen as a sign of the church's intense and proactive effort to boost its number of missionaries, particularly in regions where they are a key driver of growth. The initiative's design reveals a significant institutional push to overcome recruitment hurdles and acknowledges the reality that many potential missionaries are not serving due to practical and financial hurdles. The initiative is taking place in Harare and Johannesburg, which are in the Africa South area, a region that is a major source of growth for the church. By focusing on these areas, the church is demonstrating that it is keenly aware of the logistical challenges members face there and is willing to invest resources to overcome them to increase its number of missionaries and therefore potential converts and tithe payers. Now let's go to the Deseret News for this information. Just hours after her first day of high school, a 15-year-old girl sat in a Fremont County courtroom and told a full gallery of people, both known to her and not, about her life from the ages of 7 to 12 when she was being assaulted. Candon Dean Dahle, 22, was sentenced by District Judge Stephen Boyce to a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10 years in prison. Boyce then suspended the sentence and placed Dahle on probation for 8 years. He was also given a 180-day local jail sentence that began on Tuesday. After that, he will be required to complete 200 hours of community service. Dahle was arrested on February 7th in Provo, Utah, on a juvenile court warrant out of Bingham County for lewd conduct with a child. He was then extradited and booked into the Bingham County Jail in Blackfoot. He was initially charged in 2 counties, Fremont and Bingham, both on 1 count of felony lewd conduct with a child. Dahle later accepted a plea agreement where he agreed to plead guilty in Fremont County to amended charges of 2 counts of felony injury to a child. In return, the prosecution agreed to drop the case in Bingham County and not require Dahle to register as an offender, while recommending a term of probation at sentencing. Dahle was a senior baseball player at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, but is originally from Blackfoot, Idaho. His athlete information has since been taken off the BYU baseball website. In February, BYU Media Relations Manager Todd Hollingshead confirmed to EastIdahoNews.com that Dahle was no longer enrolled at BYU. He was first enrolled at BYU in 2024 after transferring from the College of Southern Idaho in Twin Falls. I cannot imagine being that child and watching this happen. The most immediately problematic aspect is the plea agreement. The defendant pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony injury to a child, which in and of itself is a serious charge. In exchange, the prosecution agreed to drop a separate felony charge in another county and, crucially, not require the defendant to register as an offender. The purpose of offender registries is to protect the public, and by agreeing to this, the system gave the perpetrator a way to avoid a major consequence for his crime. Furthermore, the sentence, a 5 to 10 year prison term that was suspended, seems highly lenient for a crime involving a child. The 180-day jail sentence and community service, while punishments, are disproportionately light when compared to the trauma of a victim who was assaulted for 5 years. Is this a major failing of the justice system? The outcome feels like a profound injustice to the victim. The 15-year-old girl had to endure the trauma of recounting years of abuse in a public courtroom. After that harrowing experience, the perpetrator was given a sentence that feels like a slap on the wrist. The entire outcome raises serious questions about whether the legal system is designed to truly hold perpetrators accountable and provide justice for the victims of child assault. Now let's go to Utah for this invitation. Dear brothers and sisters, we are pleased to invite you to attend a special event for church members to better understand our Indigenous brothers and sisters and how best to minister to them. The Utah Area Presidency and Gathering of Tribes have prepared this event of connection and unity and encourage you to meet and dialogue with leaders of Utah's Indigenous communities. Date, Friday, September 12th, 2025. Description: the theme of Saturday's event is Good Medicine, a traditional phrase invoking thoughts and actions that bless both community and individual. Saturday morning will begin with a sunrise ceremony with representatives of the Timpanogos tribe, honoring our ancestors and seeking healing and connection within our communities. Following the opening ceremony, we will have a group photo, and then endowed members are invited to attend the 9:30 a.m. endowment session at the Mount Timpanogos Temple. After the temple, we will serve brunch and have a speaker, followed by 3-hour-long workshops teaching how Indigenous arts have traditionally been used for connection and healing, and how they point us to the ultimate healing available to us through the atonement of Jesus Christ. The Leadership Summit begins with a dinner at 6 p.m., followed by a panel discussion for stake and ward leaders about the best ways to minister to Indigenous saints, as well as intersections between traditional Native teachings and the teachings of the gospel. More information is available at the Gathering of Tribes website. We look forward to sharing this experience with you with gratitude for your continued service. Signed, the Utah Area Presidency. While I hope the summit can be healing and honor Indigenous people, I worry that it reflects a paternalistic and colonial mindset that disregards the sovereignty and spiritual traditions of Native Americans. The approach is a continuation of a historical pattern where Native cultures are viewed as something to be managed and assimilated, rather than respected on their own terms. The language of ministering to Indigenous saints positions Native Americans as passive recipients of the church's blessings and salvation. It implies a one-way relationship where the church, as the holder of all spiritual truth, is condescending to help. This perspective, often called a savior complex, fails to recognize Native communities as autonomous, spiritually self-sufficient people, and instead frames them as a group to be saved. The idea of finding intersections between traditional Native teachings and the teachings of the gospel is also highly problematic. This approach suggests that Native spiritual traditions are valuable only insofar as they can be validated by or assimilated into LDS doctrine. This is a form of cultural appropriation that cherry-picks elements of a rich and complex culture while ignoring its full context and spiritual significance. The goal is not to appreciate Native traditions for their own sake, but to use them as a tool to make the gospel more palatable, ultimately contributing to the erasure of unique spiritual identities. This event could be troubling in light of the church's controversial history and a narrative from the Book of Mormon that labels Native Americans as descendants of the Lamanites. This narrative has been perceived by many as a form of spiritual colonialism, a way of claiming and owning the identity and history of Native peoples. A leadership summit on how to minister to this community may be an extension of this historical pattern, prioritizing the institution's narrative and goals over the genuine sovereignty and self-determination of Native American communities. And last up today, let's finish with this great quote that says, "Telling the truth about our past and how it's impacted us will never ruin a relationship that can help us heal those wounds. If being honest about our pain and past does threaten a relationship, it's probably not a recovery supporting relationship in the first place." And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.